DJ Abbas, or should I say welcome back. I hope you enjoy the content we've just played you there, the premiere from of Merry Men, and those brand new music videos for you to enjoy this Christmas. Right now, DJ Abbas is still not here. Like I say, it's a live show, so the show must go on, as they say in show business. So we have in the studio Segun Utmostt, sports agent, and we also have Mr. Dave Otite, who we're here to talk about racism in football, considering the incident that happened a few days ago with Raheem Sterling. I mean, first of all, let's start with the issue in itself and the genesis of it. Obviously, there's always been racism in football in the UK. Talk about some of the incidents that you remember from the past.
I think when you look at it, it's not just the UK; it's worldwide. But when you look at football racism, or racism in football, you go back to the old firms. You go back to Chelsea had a big reputation, Birmingham, Millwall, West Ham. But again, a lot of these people have season tickets year in, year out, and it's not that they've gone away, they've gotten older, they're still in the stadiums, but because of the CCTV, because of the increases in awareness and technology, they're having to hold them out. So they're more looking at hooliganism as opposed to being outwardly racist. So they're now becoming passive racist. But every once in a while they get caught.
Yeah. And
then they get caught. They come out with this excuse. This is not me. I've got black friends, or my neighbor is this and that. But when you just scratch the surface a little bit, you will see other incidents that have happened. So it's not that it went away. It never went away. It's just that it's been suppressed. And I think I saw an article, I think it was yesterday or the day before in The Guardian, that said even if you had no racist incidents in a stadium, as long as you've still got the same people in the stadium, you've got a stadium full of racists.
Ah, wow.
Yeah, so it's just suppressed.
Yeah.
And it becomes passive as opposed to overt racism.
Right.
What
now,
do you think?
I mean, let's move to the incident that actually happened. Have you seen the video content?
Yeah,
what did you think of it?
Well, I've seen the video, but my take on it is, like a couple of people have mentioned, it's a societal problem. And when you look at it, there's a subtle way of these things being sort of introduced into people's minds and way of life. First of all, if you look at Raheem Sterling, you know, I stand to be corrected. I think he's the highest paid footballer in England right now.
Oh, one of.
One of top three at least.
Right.
You know, when you look at, you know, he just signed a deal. It's not supposed to be an English poster boy, but right now, that's what Man City have made him.
Right.
There are other people in, you know, within the football fraternity that, you know, the media, you know, football stakeholders will hope will be there. But I mean, football doesn't really, you can't hide it, you can't hide his skills. Raheem Sterling is not a typical footballer that you expect to be successful based on his background. Is that, you know, he was rejected by a couple of London clubs when he was at Liverpool. You know, a couple of people didn't want him to move on. He moved, you know, so everything, one way or the other, he's turned it round to a negative story to a positive story. But somewhere along the line, some members of the society do not want to see that.
Right.
So when you see people come, I mean, it's taken a lot of bashing in the media and everywhere, but he keeps going strong. He's playing better. He's improved, especially when Pep has come in. And you have to look at that. Why is it that when foreign investors come in to invest in a club, when they're trying to do things their own way, some certain people in the society do not like it? If you're a businessman and you invest your money, say for instance in a club or in a business, you want the best of the best. So that's why, I mean, there are little pieces that you can puzzle together. You can be like, you know, something in right here. So I feel you know, this issue, like you rightly said, it hasn't gone away. It's always been there. People are suppressed. People are getting more aware. They're getting older and wiser. They know how to sort of comport themselves. But sometimes there's this moment of madness that it just comes out of people. So it's just there.
Right. And is it? I mean, would you say that there's now an atmosphere just in our society in general? If you look at America and with Trump and the rhetoric that's been coming out from there, Brexit and all of that kind of stuff, and what it's engendering, it's meant that people are getting comfortable again.
It's emboldened people.
Yeah.
It's made people more able to say what they think or what they've always thought but have been afraid to think. And if we go back to the football and Raheem Sterling and maybe one or two people not happy with his progress, I think a lot of clubs, let me not say every, but a lot of clubs have one or two people within their management structure that want to keep the status quo.
Right.
I mean, before Everton signed Daniel Amokachi, they never had a black player. And there's some clubs across Europe who are proud that we promote our own.
Right.
And when you go back, even this summer, Alan Sugar talking about the Senegal team, and he said they look like like people that are selling things on the streets of Marbella.
Wow.
A West Ham coach was suspended. I don't know whether it was sacked, but I know it was definitely suspended for saying we don't need any more black players. We have enough.
Wow.
So there are people like this in a lot of clubs, and whenever you're a player of a certain quality, there will always be one or two people who are trying to, either they have a candidate that they want to take your position,
right,
or they're just not happy to see that player succeeding in our club. He doesn't belong here.
Yeah.
And these are, it's not just in football clubs. You can say in the workforce.
Right. Yeah.
They employ certain types of people. Again, I think I read in the papers the other day where even Oxford and Cambridge, you get students who have applied for positions, for student positions in the clubs, and if you've got an African sounding name, your form goes to the corner.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, if you make an application for a job and you use a typical something like an English name, and you use an African name, it still happens these days.
Right, with the same qualification.
You're more likely to be turned out. These things are there, whether or not we like to admit it or we like to see it in different views, they're there. And I think, to be honest with you, a whole lot of people know these things go on, but there's been a way of suppressing people to come out with their views and opinions. But with the advent of social media right now, everything comes down the open. And I think people in the ethnic minorities as well need to be aware.
Know how to complain.
Know how to complain.
Right. And speak up.
And in most times, information is key and is knowledge. In football, there's a whole lot of things that people are not aware of, that they're not sure of, they don't even understand. Raheem Sterling was just one of the few that has been able to just scale through, to voice it. And it took him a whole lot of it's been happening for a whole long time.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing he said when he put out the Instagram post in the morning was that, okay, I normally don't speak, but here's what I've noticed. Like yesterday was the thing that's now going to trigger me. Here's what I've seen. How the press push certain storylines.
Because the press have been on his back from. This is not a year, 2 years. This is from when he was in the age group.
Yeah, I think we've got, if in the control room, if you can display Raheem Sterling headlines. We've got like a display we can show the audience.
Yeah, so they've been on his back from day one. And again, this is where I come back to, we probably don't know how to articulate our complaints in the right way. He has come out with evidence to say, this is a white player, this is a black player.
Yeah.
The white player has positive headlines. The black player has negative headlines, even though they're very similar. Yeah. And we have these headlines here against him, but when you look at certain newspapers, you will not see a positive story about a black character.
Right.
but the same set of circumstances for a white character will be painted in a positive light.
Right.
And that's exactly what he has said. He's come out with concrete examples of what he's talking about. And this is where we talk about know how to articulate your complaints.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, if I come back, because we have a predominantly Nigerian audience, the typical Nigerian way of complaining is to shout.
Okay.
And then when it comes down to sit down and write your complaint and pass it on to the right authorities, we fail.
Right.
We will sit down and devise a video, put it on social media, make it go viral, but it does nothing to resolve the issue.
Right.
This is a way to resolve the issue. Get your examples and pass it through the right channels.
Right. Yeah. And what about the organizations and institutions that football has set up, such as Kick It Out and all of that stuff? Are they effective?
Well, they are effective to an extent. They're doing a whole lot of things, but you know, in some circumstances, the symptoms have been tackled instead of the main problem.
Right.
And you have to engage with what I can call like foot soldiers, people that really understand the issues. You want to, this kind of things when it happens. I mean, a white person will understand it, but they cannot, because they cannot understand it to an extent that a black person will understand it.
Yeah. You have to feel it
to
understand.
You have to feel it.
Right.
And right now, I mean, in the football world, I mean, the young kids growing up, there's a whole lot of footballers, black footballers, that are doing very, very well. A high percentage of ethnic minorities are doing very well in academics. But when you look at the percentage that goes through, it's very, very minor. And you begin to think, what is the problem? One of the issues is the parents and the community don't even understand a whole lot of things. For instance, there's what you call football etiquette, there's life skills, there's social skills, you know, there's rejection in football. You know, in everyday life, there's politics. You know, you have to understand when you go into the dressing room, you have to shake your coach, you have to look them in the eye. Whereas in Africa, when you're talking to an elder, you don't look them in the face.
Right.
So these are the little things, you know, that are not being, that people are not aware of. So when you see someone like Raheem Sterling, is confident, is young, now is rich, is doing what he wants on the pitch and off the pitch, certain people will not be comfortable because they're not used to that kind of.
And I think to buttress your point,
I think we just quickly need to take a break. After the break, DJ Abbas will be back in his seat. He's arrived. So we'll see you right after this break for more on this interesting conversation.
Okay.